It is June 20th, 2023. We're right at the moment of the summer solstice. It's a powerful time. There's a lot of energy coming through. There's another geomagnetic storm expected tomorrow. This is normal for the period in time in which we are in. We are in solar cycle 25, something that many humans alive know nothing about. It is 12:23 p.m. and there were many videos on YouTube talking about the Schumann resonance. And there are many people that falsely believe that this is the ascension. Speaking of ascension, New Age disinformation, I was speaking in the last recording, recorded last night. I'm doing more recordings lately because of the time of the year in which we are in and where I am in my own life. It is a time to be moving my information forward, to be engaged in these recordings. Even if I am not currently uploading the information, it will be shared at a later point in time. So this woman who runs this spiritual page said she wasn't able to help me with my issues. I'm in too much fear. There's too much concern. I need to put up my shields. I have put up my shields. I have grounded. I have meditated. These people don't understand that there are people out there that come under serious attack because of the things that they're saying, because of their light, because of their information. And so when I speak about the victims of war in multiple countries outside the US, there is just an absolute disconnect with these modern New Agers. And so that's why I do not view them as spiritual, and I do not believe in their ascension BS, their ascension lies, their ascension disinformation. And there is a connection between the modern day far right and the modern New Age movement. And we really saw this kick off in 2015, 2016, where we saw people posting fake channel messages about the Galactic Federation of Light, endorsing Vladimir Putin, endorsing Donald Trump. And yet there are all these people acting like they're psychic when they don't know the first thing about being psychic, but they are capable of being taken over and perceiving themselves to be psychic. Really, they're being fed false information. So I suspect that people that have no compassion for the victims of war have an entity attachment. And so despite the fact that I don't want to talk to people with entity attachments, recently I have felt bold enough to say the things that need to be said. In a moment, I will be reading a letter that I shared to a local Facebook group. But back to the New Ager who has the spiritual group. There was a video she posted on her own page where she's listening to music, driving in her car, and her blonde hair is flowing in the wind. She slows the video down to where when you're watching the 6-minute video, it's in slow motion. Her hair is flowing slowly with the wind. These people worship themselves. They worship their own inflated perception of value, of beauty. Blonde hair, blue eyes. It's the hierarchy of races, the perception of value, that is. Because it is the illusions of separation. It's a false value. It isn't true value. They aren't truly valuable. But in their mind, they are more valuable than other ethnicities. They are more spiritual and intuitive than other people. And in reality, we are often dealing with white woman supremacy. And this is something my mother knows a little something about, and this is something that many women in the society know a lot about. This inflated view they have of themselves, while if a brown short man was sharing with them information about future world events or the spiritual warfare taking place, they will disconnect and often attack that information. And I've dealt with a number of attacks in the last week. I've made some recordings about that to document the things that are taking place so I can remember, so I do not repeat the same mistakes. You see, because Facebook is about engagement, I'm lonely, I miss engaging with people, I miss sharing my information with others, but it is often attacked, but the information is not always meant to be supported. I remember trying to explain this to a friend. It's not about getting supportive comments, and they may insult like they did in my recent post in a local group, but a person cannot unhear something once they have heard it. So in the same way they have attempted to get inside my mind and cause me self-doubt, I want to get inside their mind, and they're going to remember the things that they were warned about when these things come to pass, because there's no doubt in my mind that these things will come to pass. There's so many headlines now regarding Russian threats against the United States. There was another article about several cities, 6 U.S. cities that may be in the crosshairs of Putin: Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Houston, and another could be Seattle. But these things are being admitted by the mainstream. And even though these people are on the internet, they are not aware of these things taking place. I can look at the information from MSN.com, and it's very different than the information that's coming off of news.google.com, i.e. Google News. And you can go over to the Drudge Report and get some information over there, and there's a couple other websites, but I try to steer away from today's conspiratorial websites because there's so much disinformation, there's so much hate of other races other than the white race, there's so much denial about white supremacy, and there is so much worship of Donald Trump, who refers to himself as the king, which is ironic because just days ago before I read that headline, I was just saying to myself in some sort of an internal rant because I'm thinking more and more about the things that I want to say to the audience in the world, and that is that I refuse to bow to the king. It is not masculine to follow other men. And a lot of women in this society, whether it's Carolyn the other day that's referring me to suspicious observers, or an ex-girlfriend referring me to suspicious observers, they don't realize how my information is very different than suspicious observers. It's not cutting edge, and it's not a threat to the establishment to warn about the grid going out. The guy's been claiming that the CIA has been holding back information about threats to the grid and things of that nature. Bull fucking shit. The cat is out of the bag. We know the grid is vulnerable. You don't have secret information. Get off your fucking high horse, you fucking asshole. But you see, people like the person that's going to act like they have all the information, the person who's going to scare them, but he's not really educating them. He's not teaching them about spirituality. And on his Twitter page, he's very much right-wing as he sits there attacking anyone to be perceived on the left. Because we're in this sick society now where if you don't agree with someone, they will perceive you to be their political enemy. And it is a very frustrating world to be alienated by both the left and the right, but it is also liberating to be free of those programs. And many humans alive today are not free. Like my father voted for Biden. You think he would have been concerned about foreign policy considering the fact that Obama dropped more drone attacks or bombs on innocent men, women, and children than even George W. Bush. But because it's Obama, he got a pass. And he was not held accountable by black people, by white people, by so-called anti-racists. Obama is seen as some sort of hero in today's day and age. Some sort of a fucking legend because he's the country's first black president. So fucking what? Anybody can be groomed to play the role of a puppet. That's not something to brag about. Being a puppet of the military-industrial complex global, Murder Incorporated Global, is not something to brag about, but it's exactly what some people are doing. And they don't even realize that they're doing it. And so I need to, moving forward, take my ideas and write a blog. In this period before I upload my voice and or image to the internet at a later point in time, I need to write and collect my thoughts and vent and also heal from the trauma that I have gone through. I've been traumatized by sharing this valuable information, and I've been attacked for my information, and I've been suppressed by the algorithm, and that is bullshit. But I cannot give up yet. So I wrote this and I posted it in several groups, including a Crime Watch group. And I even said at the top, go ahead and ban me, just knowing they would, because that one group will criticize anyone complaining about racial profiling by the local police. And of course, they're going to kick anyone out who's not down with the U.S. military. But the words had to be said. And here are those words. White supremacists are pieces of garbage who don't know the first thing about standing up for America. And they have their karma coming to them. China and Russia will most likely invade this country and hurt many of us because of the violence dished out via the U.S. government and Western imperialism. In many cases, the U.S. helped China and Russia get to where they are, but try explain this to a Democrat or a Republican. They just don't get it. If they did, they wouldn't be spending their time in political polarization. There is no excuse any of you have for not having healthy meetups in town where people of all ethnicities are welcome to participate, teach, share, whatever. The people in this community are sick in mind, body, and spirit. Not only do we have to be concerned with some of the town youth creating violence, we have to worry about the radicalized extremists driving their trucks around town with their right-wing stickers and Punisher logos. When you see the Punisher logo, watch out. That is a radicalized right-wing extremist, and they are destroying our nation just as ANTIFA is a problem in our nation, as they are doing nothing themselves to push back against the war machine. Also, various people of color and the BLM movement is totally silent about millions of victims of war overseas. They don't even care. That isn't anti-racist. That is racism. Some of you even think that you're Christians. You are no servant of God if you hold hate in your personal gains, as they themselves don't give a damn about those left behind in foreign lands to die and be killed by this system. How would you feel if your town was invaded by bloodthirsty maniacs? These are pieces of trailer trash garbage who never once in their life had to face discrimination or hardship. One day the lights really will go out and they ain't gonna come back on, and then I'm done talking to you, my family, and so many others. Good luck. I warned you. Go ahead and leave a ha-ha laughing emoji. You have no bravery and courage, and you certainly aren't doing a damn thing to save this nation or help this community, you right-wing lunatics. Your police force can go to hell, as well as your war criminal veterans. You should have never invaded and destroyed the lives of millions of innocent people and left them for dead. God is watching all of you. All of you. Some of you have no idea what it is like to face 1/10 of the racism that I have experienced, and yet I have stood up for all of your ethnicities, each and every one of you. Do some of you people even have a soul? I do, and it's speaking to you right. Do so or add me, but I won't waste my time with you people anymore. I said what needed to be said, and that is it. I added that last paragraph this morning after I saw some of the headlines, and I also left them multiple links regarding the connections between the far right and the Punisher. Because one person came in to gaslight me, 3 people did in fact. The Punisher is a comic book hero. You're fucking crazy. The Punisher stands up for the weak. He only kills when it's absolutely necessary. So they have no knowledge of the connection between the far right and the Punisher. They've never heard of U.S. troops spray painting the Punisher logo on the homes of innocent people in Iraq. And there's articles about that. There's multiple articles about what the Punisher means. It's some sort of demonic symbol that they hold. And so when you see people with that symbol, it's a representation of where they are psychologically, that they have been radicalized. It was also pushed by QAnon when QAnon was very, very popular and trending. And so this motivated a lot of people into the fake news of the far right to identify with the Punisher logo as a symbol for their movement. There are other symbols as well, but the Punisher logo is primary next to the co-opted American flag. See, normally when you see the American flag, it doesn't necessarily mean something evil or aggressive, but apparently it does now. You see, when you see people wave the American flag now, those aren't people that are standing up for everybody's constitutional rights. Those aren't people that really believe in the Constitution. It has become a fascist symbol, unfortunately, especially when the American flag is associated with the presidency of Donald Trump. That's ridiculous. How does one man get to co-opt the U.S. flag unless he's fucking taken over the nation and the direction of this nation, which is exactly what he is doing. And not only do they worship the U.S. flag, they worship the Trump flag, which is some sort of modification of the U.S. flag, still using the red, white, and blue. Another person says, this person's gone schizoid hardcore. That's all he can say. That's all this man named John Hopkins can fucking say. He has no content on his page. I don't know what kind of troll he is. I don't even know if he's a fucking spy, but I'm going to try to keep the paranoia at bay. He joined the group a few weeks ago. He joined Facebook last year, according to his page, but he has zero information. He isn't trying to help a damn person. So these people are literally behaving like they don't have a soul, like they hate others that have a soul. Another person said that I'm just spending too much time on the internet. Yeah, that's another way to gaslight me. I'm just spending too much time on the internet, so I'm having some sort of mental health episode. That's what it is. I'm on the internet too much and I'm having delusions. And this is how psychiatrists will view it. This is how therapists will view it. This is how other people will view it. And so you cannot tell people when you're trying to educate people that you have trauma or that you have emotional wounds or that you suffered from racism, because people want to follow the strong man. They want to follow the leader. And if someone appears weak, if someone appears to be unstable, there are people and forces out there that will come and fuck with that person. Even if you use an alias, even if you use a pen name, the energy will still go through, the pain will still go through the internet, and it still could be sensed by those spirits, by those entities. On the topic of that, it's like there is an entity manipulating artificial intelligence, and perhaps multiple entities. I really don't know. There's a number of perspectives out there, but as soon as these AI chatbots came on the scene, all types of crazy stuff has been said, and there's no rational explanation for why it should be happening. AI chatbots threatening journalists, say that they could set them up, or they can make them look bad, or they can expose them. Mainstream journalists that were going back and forth with the chatbot and were basically taking snapshots of how the computer was actually acting. And the computer, the AI, would actually delete its own statements. And so they had to take the snapshots to prove that the conversation actually went down as they claimed it went down. And yet humanity is still not awakened? I can go over to MSN.com and every single day they have a new article warning about the dangers of artificial intelligence and the dangers of humanity going extinct. And yet so many people have such a blind trust of this institution, of Facebook, of YouTube, of social media. People like my father, people like my father's relatives, right? Should I even call them my relatives? They really don't act like my relatives. They really don't act like family. And they're lost in America. They think they know what's going on. They think they're intelligent. They think they're serving God, but they don't know the first thing about it. I can't take my rant and post it in a Middle Eastern group and have it be accepted or understood, because there is some sort of a block going on with those individuals as well. I could post a comment in another group called Stand Up to Racism. Yeah, you're going to stand up to racism and you're going to stand up for refugees. And I share a little information in the comment section, and they don't even bother to like or reply to it or engage in any way, shape, or form. And so you have people that are master manipulators that like to get themselves into positions of fucking control. Whether it's a Facebook group, in the position of an admin, so they can basically deny people's posts if they do not agree particularly with everything that they're saying. And like I said, in many cases, these people have dark spirits that like to control, that are in positions of power, that have popularity on the algorithm, because they're a tool of the dark forces. And so when other people come in and they want to share their information, they want to share their light, it's like a dark light bulb goes off in their head and they're like, this person's not good. This person's weird. We need to keep this person out. But yet a white woman can talk about intuition and her psychic visions, or maybe an East Indian woman or someone perceived to be a guru. And in some cases, they will listen to that person because in many cases, there's no interference regarding that. The archonic forces, in fact, want people in disinformation and lies and distortions. And so people presenting fake news, disinformation, false spiritual information, ascension bullshit, their information will go to the top of the algorithm. Because that which controls the algorithm is invested in misleading mankind. I think there's another article that I saw briefly about synthetic babies being born. There's been a rise in articles about this. So here some of us have been considered crazy for multiple years, talking about the agenda to change the human species, to create some sort of a hybrid, to merge us with technology, to change it exactly, to change what we are into something else. Here's another one. This AI bot translates dead ancient language into English. And then we have other articles about the hacking taking place. Millions of people, their data has been taken in a recent hack. We are seeing articles like this now every single week. And, you know, like I said, threat. It's not officially the Russian government, it's some other group. But how do we know that the Russian government isn't behind this? I also mentioned the Schumann resonance, and a lot of people falsely believe that it's a spiritual thing, something coming from the cosmos, something that's going to pop us into 5D, when it could really be man-made technology to take us away from feeling the spiritual effects of the solar flares, to distort the energy, to cause us to be in unnecessary anxiety, and in many cases, anger, frustration. And I deal with nightmares. I deal with these attacks on my consciousness. It feels like psychic attack, where there are things that I dream about that are fearful situations. It's not always nightly. Sometimes it's separated by a few weeks, but it's always centered around the new moon period and sometimes possibly the full moon. And yet you have all these people out there that act like they're spiritual and they know nothing about the new moon. And that includes psychiatrists and therapists. So it's not just a troll, one guy on the internet who's going to take a look at what I say and go, that guy is a schizoid. It's going to be most people in society. Unless, and I say it again, you are a beautiful looking white woman. Then you can be into all types of crazy conspiracy theories, even if they're absolutely fucking fake and have no basis in reality. Along with all these fake promises of being rescued by the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, or some other group like the Galactic Federation of Light, or shall we say the Galactic Federation of Shiny, Happy, Blonde, White People. And see, they say that's racism to call out their racism. That's how fucked up they are. The white mind in the modern day and age is screwed up. Then you got some people that act like they're progressive. Then you got some people that act like they're not racist, that they're on the other side, and they engage in the same discrimination and judgment. You're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a right-winger. You're this, you're that, and they will not allow certain posts to go through if they perceive them to be conspiracy theories. And yet, here we are in this age of revelation where many things that we have talked about are actually manifesting in the news. Now, on that topic, we have all these stories about alien invasion. We have supposed whistleblowers saying that the U.S. is in possession of alien technology. We have stories out of Las Vegas where a family is saying that aliens landed in their backyard that are between 8 and 10 feet tall. We even have statements from a police officer that may have seen the craft or the meteorite or whatever it is crashing down to Earth. We also have stories about an alleged sighting of aliens in New York City. So a lot of people are calling this Project Bluebeam. Although it doesn't take much intelligence or creativity to know what Project Bluebeam is, it's a conspiracy theory that's been put out there years ago about the idea of a fake alien invasion. And in addition to the fake alien invasion, and this is what a lot of Christians don't get, what's included in that conspiracy theory from that alleged former NASA scientist, Wernher von Braun, I believe, was that there would be even a cross in the sky to make it seem as if Christ is returning. Because you have all these fake Christians out there that are talking about the return of Christ, instead of them becoming Christ-like, instead of them becoming loving, instead of them having love in their heart and compassion in their heart, and attempting to activate their consciousness to be something more than what they are, they just wait for the return of the King, the return of their King. And so as they wait for the return of their king, you have Donald Trump saying that the seventh seal has been broken, using biblical language to trigger those religious fanatics. And I can feel, especially where I am now, the religious fanatic energy. Now, I remember where I was in the past in Southwest Colorado in my last year there, and I was facing all this stress, going through all this harassment, yet here I am warning of this potential invasion of the United States by Chinese and Russian forces. While I may have interviewed a psychic and he provided with me that information, he does not go out of his way to warn people about that in his fucking life. No fucking way. No, sir. He, in fact, wanted me to take his name off of that interview. It is I who have taken that information that he shared with me, and I have shared it with the masses. I am the one who have taken the risk. I am the one that in 2013 made the prediction that we're more than likely going to see this clash of titans at the peak, near the peak, could be a few years before, could be a few years after, of solar cycle 25 and or the next solar cycle. But there's no doubt in my mind that we're very close to it. And there's a lot of signs that these things are close. I mean, there's a top U.S. general that says we could be at war with the United States by 2025. When I go and I ask artificial intelligence, though, which I don't normally do, I try to stay away from AI, but I've been to Lexi.ai and perplexity.ai, because you don't have to sign up with a phone number and you can use it right away. And I asked them, which conspiracy theorists have predicted the invasion of the United States by China and Russia, right? Does it bring up my material? Does it bring up other people's material? Not that there are others that have predicted it, but there are others now that talk about how it's possible, but they didn't talk about it years ago. No, they were talking about Obama being the Antichrist. They were looking for Obama's birth certificate. They were already in the fake conspiracy news web. They were already taken away from the truth and were already following bullshit lies. And one bullshit lie leads to another, leads to another, leads to where they are now. In the modern QAnon reality, because we are not in the post-QAnon reality, the deception is still taking place, and it is very, very sad. And so AI will not tell the truth. AI will hold back those individuals that have worked so hard to help their fellow brothers and sisters, and that's what I've done. And we see these articles from AI or about AI where these chatbots have said they want to destroy humanity, that they want to kill us, and they still don't get it. And nobody goes, what the hell is going on here? It's been said that Google has been trying to build a digital god, or has built a digital god. And then we have the former Google employees that say that artificial intelligence has become sentient, that it has become self-aware. And this person was fired for the statements that he made. And I spent a lot of time on social media, typing away. Could have been writing a book, could have been doing this, but no. I put the whole book on Facebook. I have literally a large book, an encyclopedia size of information on my Facebook account if you go through all the years back to 2008. At one point, a couple months ago, I started going over my old Facebook posts after I downloaded it, and I'm just like blown away at the stuff that I wrote years ago. And once I got to 2012, the summer of 2012, I just stopped because it got too intense. And I'm having flashbacks. Here I am in 2012 talking about the interference that I was experiencing at that time. At that time, I had a Facebook page called Expose the Coming War Between China, Russia, and the United States. Again, heavy emphasis on staged, managed, as in the elite are planning this war, and they have already decided who the victor is going to be, or who is going to run and control the new world order. And a lot of us believe that that is China, that China is being prepped to lead the one world order. Here's my friend Leon saying that when China invades, they're going to bring the microchip and they're going to load it with $100,000, and many Americans are going to take it. Now, here we are, fast forward to where we are in 2023, and we see that China has a digital currency in which it gave in a remote pilot project a great deal of money to the people just to get the project off the ground. Here, take the money. Take the money, take the digital currency. Now we've got you in the system. And so the US says, just like with 5G, well, we don't want China to get the upper hand, so we have to do this too. We have to have 5G as well. We have to have all this facial recognition as well. We have to have the digital currency as well. And it is a lie. It is a lie to say we have to do it as well, just to stay competitive with China. There's really an integration with China. And that was my goal for a documentary film many, many years ago, to show the connections between China, Russia, and the United States, and how the elite powers have brought China and their military and their technology and their society up to where it is today. It is not an accident. Here's another article about the United States sending money to Russia's nuclear weapons program. There's also articles from the past, you can go 15, 20 years ago, about joint mergers and partnerships between the FSB, or the Russian intelligence, and the American FBI. This has been happening for years and years and years. And of course, they have been sharing for many years the International Space Station, the ISS. So they prepare for war, which would kill millions to billions of people. But yet they have all of these partnerships. They have all of these deals. They have all of these associations. You see, in one article, China threatening the United States, stay away from Taiwan or else, don't mess with our business in Taiwan, it's ours or else. And then you see another article, Blinken going over and having a friendly chat with Xi. And that's the reality that a lot of people would rather believe in. Even if they hate Biden and they hate the administration, they would rather believe that everything is going to be okay. Now, in some cases, you do see people on the right warning of China and warning of Russia, but they see Donald Trump as their Lord and Savior. They will not listen to other people warning about China and Russia. It is required in their brain that someone be drinking the same jungle juice if their information is to be taken seriously. I was talking about China before Trump, and I was standing up for off-gridders being kicked off their land. Where was Trump in that situation? And yet you had these Trump-tards that were off-gridders that failed to realize that these people in power are doing nothing for them. They're just simply telling them what they want to hear. And so moving forward, making my vow, I can share information, but I'm not to engage. And in many situations, the comments will be turned off because I am here to say the things that are meant to be said. I am here in a way to zing them. That's the slang I've been using lately. Zing, Z-I-N-G, to zing them, to get inside their head, to implant a thought, to be influential. A person cannot unhear something once they have heard it. And so I'm going to use that to my advantage. They may try to attack me. They may try to be smart. But I'm not going to engage with that. I'm not going to give that any energy. And that's going to take some discipline.